This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Thursday, the 12th day of November in the year 2020. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. As Guyana's term as chair of the G77 group in China winds down, President Irfan Ali today said there is the need for greater international cooperation to respond to the existing global challenges. The president was at the time addressing a meeting of foreign ministers of the G77 group in China. The 44th annual meeting of the group was held virtually this morning. President Ali said as the world will move to rebuild its economies in the aftermath of COVID-19, there will be a great need for closer cooperation among countries.
If we are to rebound stronger and better, it is imperative that we internalize the lessons of the pandemic and chart a more inclusive, balanced, and sustainable development path. This requires fundamentally for us to address issues such as development gaps and high indebtedness, and to advocate for greater access to development financing. Excellencies, our group has acknowledged the vital importance of multilateralism in finding solutions to the multiple crises which have bedeviled humanity.
The president also called for enhanced international support for institutions such as the World Health Organization, which are best equipped to take on the fight against the pandemic.
Guyana, like the rest of the world, has worked assiduously to formulate a response plan to the pandemic. The plan is underscored by the need to ensure citizens' health and safety while mitigating the pandemic's debilitating economic damage. This objective remains the central focus of my government, as I'm sure it is for every state represented at this gathering.
And President Ali also said in an effort to rebound stronger, it will become necessary to internalize the lessons of the pandemic to chart a more inclusive, balanced, and sustainable development path forward for the world. More news coming up in just a moment.
Guyana, we've been through it all.
But as a people we have
weathered every storm
and risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
that gives it its strength.
all the people,
regardless of race,
class, or religion.
we are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
Available at Ravina's on Water Street and Anand's on Regent Street, a special Diwali and Black Friday all-in-one sale. Vinlay for $298 per yard and rubber tile for $488 per yard in over 36 colors to choose from, ranging from wooden floor designs and tile designs. Special prices are available for wholesale buyers and shopkeepers. We have beautiful colors to match your homes, office, or schools to make your floors look marvelous. Only at Ravina's on Water Street and Anand's on Regent Street.
For all the Zoom hashouts and recipe tryouts, the world changed and we were right there, standing with you, always near, getting closer in so many ways, laughing together as we face these days. And because we are Caribbean, we've got a special insight that tells us there's no need to worry, world. We'll be all right.
Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Welcome back. Let's tell you now that the Ministry of Education is probing reports that some primary schools in some regions are allowing grade 6 teachers and students to return to the classrooms. The Ministry of Education has not made any decision on the reopening of primary schools and lower high schools. However, there are reports coming out of Linden, parts of Essequibo, and parts of Berbice that some primary teachers, after holding discussions with parents, have decided to restart classes. Education Minister Priya Manik Chan appeared frustrated today when questioned about the issue. She made it clear that the Ministry of Education has not given any permission for the reopening of schools for any primary students. She said it appears as though in some areas the parents and teachers are acting on their own. The Education Minister did not say how her ministry intends to address the issue. At a recent press conference, Minister Manik Chan reminded that the grade 6 exams are local exams, and therefore the Ministry of Education could push back the exams completely or use another form of assessment for placement in secondary schools. She said any decision to reopen primary schools, which cater for thousands of students, will be based on science and the advice of health officials. Schools across Guyana have been closed since March. Schools were recently reopened for 4th, 5th, and 6th formers as they are preparing for regional examinations next year. The total number of coronavirus cases in the country increased by 44 overnight, and another death related to the virus has also been recorded. The total number of deaths now stands at 138. The latest victim was 61 years old and was a resident in the Region 4 area. In terms of new cases, Region 4 continues to record the highest number in new cases. 31 of the 44 new cases are from Region 4, according to the Ministry of Health. Region 1 has recorded 3 new cases, and Regions 6 and 7 have 2 new cases each, with an additional case in Region 3. In the country, there are now 895 active cases of coronavirus, with 839 of those persons in home isolation. Well, let's tell you now that the Ministry of Health has dispatched an additional medical team to the indigenous village of St. Cuthbert's Mission here in Region 4, as that village continues to see a spike in COVID-19 cases. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony today revealed that the village's COVID-19 cases increased by 23 in the past 24 hours, taking the total number of coronavirus cases in the small village to 168. The minister said it is proving difficult to get villagers at St. Cuthbert's to adhere to the COVID-19 measures.
We have to get people to reduce their social activity within St. Cuthbert's, and I guess once we're able to accomplish that, some level of social distancing within the community, people stay at home and so forth, then we'll be able to bring the cases under control. We have added a medical team there, and they're currently on the ground, would remain there for the duration of this lockdown. And through CDC has been helping them with hampers. So I think in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we should be able to control the amount of cases that we have there, and we should see a steep decline.
The Ministry of Health has placed the village on lockdown as it believes that the number of coronavirus cases in the Mahaika River village will rise as additional tests are completed. In the past week, the village has recorded more than 90 new cases of coronavirus. Members of the joint services have also been dispatched to the community to assist with enforcing the coronavirus guidelines and ensuring there is restriction on all movement in and out of the village. Well, as the search continues for the shipper of the container from Guyana that was later busted in Belgium with 11.5 tons of cocaine, Guyana's Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit and the Belgian Police and the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration are working closely together with the investigations. Senior officials at CANU indicated today that while there are no leads in the search for the shipper Marlon Primo, CANU investigators are cooperating with their counterparts from the DEA and in Belgium. There has been no new arrests in the local investigations, although a number of possible additional suspects are being looked at. 2 staffers of the Guyana Revenue Authority who were on duty at a container scanner when the cocaine-packed container made its way through remain in custody. 2 other persons who were initially arrested have since been released, but have to make regular visits to the Kanu headquarters. Investigators are this evening tight-lipped about the probe. However, sources close to the investigations have indicated to News Source that more than a dozen persons locally could be implicated in the cocaine shipment as that probe widens. The $1 billion worth of cocaine arrived in Belgium last Wednesday from Guyana, triggering major investigations in the 2 countries. The DEA, which has an office in Guyana, is assisting with a local probe. And still with the drug trade, the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit, on the insistence of the head of the unit, James Singh, has reopened the investigations into the 1.5 tons of cocaine that was found in a rice shipment from Guyana back in August. The bus was made in Germany, and because the ship with a container of rice had made a number of stops before reaching Germany, an initial investigation had ruled out the cocaine originating in Guyana. But now, in wake of the latest drug bust in Belgium, which is linked to Guyana, it is becoming clearer that the cocaine that was found in the rice could have originated here in Guyana. Head of Kanu James Singh today said the reopening of the case is based on new intelligence. He would offer no other details. When the bust was made back in August, the Guyana Revenue Authority had insisted that its container scanners were in working order and nothing strange was picked up when the rice was shipped. However, with information coming to hand that images in the scrap metal drug bus that were captured by the scanners were later deleted, Kanu investigators now believe it could have been a similar case with the rice shipment. The container with the cocaine packed in rice arrived in Germany aboard a container vessel Jean Gabriel. According to reports out of Germany, the police there found the cocaine just after the container had been offloaded in the container yard at the port. It had been scheduled to be transshipped to Poland. German investigators reportedly received a confidential tip about the drug smuggling operation and began a thorough search of the container yard when the ship arrived. When the container was examined at the city's customs office, investigators said they discovered 4 to 7 large packages of cocaine hidden between sacks of rice from Guyana. The investigators estimated the value of the cocaine at more than $350 million. Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways. knowing that's what being a man is all about, and ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
Been through it all.
But as a people we have
Weathered every storm.
And risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
That gives it its strength.
all the people,
Regardless of race,
class or religion.
we are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Across the region right now, former President of Bolivia Evo Morales has returned to his home country after a year in exile. Mr. Morales resigned and left Bolivia in November last year amid mass protests over allegations of vote rigging in the presidential election. He said he would return to Bolivia if his mass party won the rerun of the election, which it did on the 18th of October. The former president was received by hundreds of supporters at the border. Mr. Morales was Bolivia's first indigenous president and led the country for almost 14 years. Following his departure from Bolivia in November 2019, members of the right-wing interim government accused him of sedition, terrorism, and statutory rape. A judge issued an arrest warrant for the former leader, but last month that order was annulled, paving the way for him to return without fear of being detained. Mr. Morales had long said that he would return to Bolivia if his Socialist Mass Party, which he continues to lead, won the rerun of the disputed 2019 election. Well, as Latin American nations test experimental coronavirus vaccines from across the globe and economic heavyweights such as Brazil and Mexico jockey for supply deals with major drug makers, the communist-run Cuba already has 2 of its own vaccines in clinical trials. Should its efforts succeed, the Caribbean island could become an important supplier to neighboring countries that might otherwise struggle to access vaccine supply, as wealthy Western nations rush to secure doses, regional experts have said. If a Cuban vaccine proves safe and effective, it would become available for purchase in the region through the Pan American Health Organization, the America's regional office of the World Health Organization. Cuba's vaccine progress is being tracked by COVAX, a program co-led by the WHO and the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovation, to ensure global distribution of vaccines. Cuba's 2 vaccine candidates, Sovereign 1 and Sovereign 2, are not among the 9 COVAX has chosen for its portfolio to date. And finally tonight, international news. In the US, New York has introduced new restrictions aimed at curbing coronavirus, with New York Mayor Bill de Blasio warning it was the city's last chance to stop a second wave. Bars, restaurants, and gyms must now close by 10 p.m., and people can only meet in groups of 10 or less. The US is seeing a surge in coronavirus cases. A record 65,368 Americans were in hospital on Wednesday. The COVID tracking project also reported a record 144,000 new cases. An average of over 900 people a day are now dying with the disease in the US. More than 1 million new cases in November pushed the total confirmed cases to over 10 million across the United States, with more than 234,000 deaths so far. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.